Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Ben. Thanks for the suggestion, Ben. You asked, why are toilets sometimes called the crapper? It's a word we've all heard, but have you ever stopped mid-flush and wondered, where did it actually come from? Is it just crude slang, or is there a real history behind it? Well, buckle up, because the answer involves a very real person, a bit of military humor, and one of the greatest accidental name associations of all time. So, if you've ever laughed at the word crapper but never knew why, stick around. We're about to dive into the strange and hilarious origins of this bathroom nickname, right here on Explaining Everything. Believe it or not, crapper comes from an actual person's name. Enter Thomas Crapper. Yes, that was his real name. And no, he wasn't some 19th century prankster who thought plumbing was a joke. In fact, he was a serious businessman, an inventor, and one of the biggest promoters of the modern flushing toilet. He even supplied toilets to British royalty. Imagine being knighted and your biggest legacy is, well, a nickname for going number 2. Now, before we crown him the king of the loo, let's clear up a common misconception. Thomas Crapper did not invent the toilet. That honor goes to Sir John Harington, a 16th century English courtier who designed one for Queen Elizabeth I. However, Harington's invention didn't exactly catch on, probably because flushing toilets in the 1500s sounded about as practical as a Wi-Fi-enabled outhouse. Crapper, on the other hand, was a master of promotion. He ran a successful plumbing business and held several patents for toilet-related innovations, including the U-bend pipe, which prevented nasty sewer gases from wafting back up into people's homes. So, while he didn't invent the toilet, he definitely made it better. So, how did crapper become toilet slang? Well, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Thomas Crapper and Company supplied toilets all over England, and his name was prominently stamped on them. Then came World War I, when American soldiers were stationed in England and encountered these fine British lavatories, all proudly branded with the name Crapper. And let's be honest, if you're a young soldier with a crude sense of humor, which, let's face it, is most young soldiers, you're going to make some jokes. Soon enough, crapper became a widely used term among American troops, and when they returned home, they brought the slang with them. Suddenly, an English plumber's surname had become global potty humor. You might be thinking, well, if crapper came from Thomas Crapper, then that means the word crap must have come from him too, right? Surprisingly, no. The word crap existed long before Thomas Crapper was even born. It comes from the Old English word crapper, which originally meant chaff or discarded waste. Over time, it evolved into a more general term for, well, waste of all kinds. So, while crapper's name certainly contributed to the association, people have been calling useless things crap for centuries. It's just one of those cosmic coincidences that a guy named Crapper ended up in the toilet business. Of course, crapper isn't the only nickname we've given toilets. There's the loo, which supposedly comes from the French phrase gardes l'eau, meaning watch out for the water, shouted before dumping chamber pots out of windows. Charming. Then there's John, supposedly named after Sir John Harington. And let's not forget the throne, because hey, if we're going to spend significant portions of our lives there, we might as well feel like royalty. But none of these have quite the same comedic appeal as crapper. It just rolls off the tongue. So, in the end, Thomas Crapper didn't invent the toilet, but he certainly left his mark on bathroom history, whether he meant to or not. His name, forever etched into plumbing folklore, proves that sometimes your biggest legacy isn't something you create, but something the world decides to remember you for. And let's be honest, if your last name is Crapper and you don't go into the plumbing business, you've missed a golden or porcelain opportunity. But beyond the jokes and wordplay, Crapper's contributions made a real difference. His work helped usher in an era where indoor plumbing became standard, improving hygiene and public health in ways that were nothing short of life-changing. Thanks to him and others like him, we no longer have to rely on chamber pots, outhouses, or, heaven forbid, medieval-style drop toilets, where waste just sort of fell into the street. So the next time you're sitting on your porcelain throne, scrolling through your phone, take a moment to appreciate the convenience of modern plumbing. And if you ever hear someone call it a crapper, now you'll know the full, hilarious, and oddly inspiring story behind it. Because in the grand scheme of history, Thomas Crapper might not have changed the world, but he sure made it a lot more comfortable. That's it for today's deep dive into toilet history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.